This meeting is being live streamed. Okay, now I'm good.
Okie dokie.
I thought you froze for a second, to be
Oh,
honest. Yeah. Okay. I'm good if you are. Hello and welcome to the Warrior House podcast, where Warrior Pride lives. I'm your host, Ryan Reingart, joined by my co-host, Mike Sangster. Thank you for joining us on episode 110 of the Warrior House podcast. Back at it, Sangster. It is dark outside at
yeah.
5:43 p.m.
Well, you know what? It's bright in the morning. I'll take that. That's a little easier to wake up.
Yeah, that's very fair. I saw a thing online recently. It's like, I don't know how much daylight they're trying to save, but it's really dark outside right now. And yeah, it's about accurate. But alas, we are well into November at this point. November rain, if you will. The cold is coming in. Heard that it might snow some point over this coming weekend or early next week. So it really feels
Yeah, I
like
heard Sunday. That's pretty wild.
yeah,
I did
we're
not have
dead.
already, but
Yeah, no,
hopefully it's
no.
not much. It's double.
But we're nearing the time that we get to go inside for sports, which is always a great time, especially this time in this season. So we'll get to football to kind of close out this here first segment. But to talk about one of the sports that really kind of gets us excited as we get, especially into the winter semester, men's basketball and women's basketball. But we're only talking about men's basketball right now. Back on Thursday, there was the a big event that Wayne State hosted alongside the Horatio Williams Foundation. I hope
Yeah.
I'm getting all these words right.
Yep.
And it was called, oh, what was the name of this one, Sangster?
And culture event.
That's right. So, again, this was hosted at the Wayne State Fieldhouse. There were four different games here. Of course, Wayne State basketball was one of them. And this happened on Thursday at 2:30 p.m., taking on Talladega College out of Talladega, Alabama. And Wayne State ends up winning this one by a final score of 67 to 59. And kind of before we break this game down a little bit, um, on Saturday, kind of looking ahead a little bit at the Wayne State football game, I had a chance to talk with Coach Smothers for, I feel like we were talking for maybe 10, 15 minutes. It was pretty cool to kind of get his thoughts on what this Wayne State basketball team is kind of feeling like. And he said that, there's a really big change around this team, specifically in that they're less reliant on the guard position. If you recall last year, our starters, we had a Rob Lee Jr., we had Carmelo Harris, and I believe Jordan Briggs all in the starting lineup. And those are
Yeah.
three guards there. And after that is Ray Williams and Kelvin Tomaclo. So that right off the bat is a big change because now we are running three forwards. We're back down to two guards, which is a pretty standard way that a lot of teams will run their, five at any given time. And just to kind of highlight the difference that this makes, right now from the game on last Friday, Sangster, the average height of the starting lineup was 6'4". And at the very last game of last season, which was in the GLIAC tournament, I believe, it was 6'2". Now that's on average, your players are 2 inches taller. Like that's
Yeah.
pretty significant. That shows the difference when you just put that third guard out there in place of a 6 foot 6'1" guard. So that's a pretty big thing there. It doesn't mean that they're going to be wildly better or that it's just they're a bigger team. So pretty significant thing there. With that being said, though, in this very first game, shooting guard, I believe Jordan Briggs went off for 22 points, leading scorer for the Wayne State men's basketball team, and the floor was there for him. He's one of those big names returning from last season that I think we're expecting good things from him. Catch and shoot guard, get open guard, knock down your shots guard, and that's what we saw. The scouting report on him was exactly that coming out of high school. And kind of just closing out some quick recap on this game here. There's a big number in the turnover column. But Wayne State was able to make it happen to get the first exhibition win of the season at the field house. The turnover doesn't really concern me too much because, again, I mean, this is a little bit of a different looking team from last year. Got to figure it out. I'm sure, Talladega College showed up, just fired up, ready to play and, pressuring us and all that. So not too much of a concern there at the end of the day. How did it feel? Hopefully the coaching staff learned some stuff. Some of these guys got some real time minutes against opponent that's not wearing basically their jersey. So ultimately, very, very good thing to see for this Wayne State men's basketball team.
Yeah, something new here. You're talking about replacing one of those guards, putting in a forward. Your starting forward, at least for this game, was transfer Jotham Nowecki. He comes in from Macomb Community College. He was a basically season starter for them last year, starting 34, 35 games, uh, averaged about 13 points a contest. In this game, he got right about there. He got 13 points. 5 for 13 from the floor, 2 for 7 3-pointer, and he made his one free throw. So good on him to be able to come in and start immediately for this Wayne State team. He comes in at 6'7". 6'7", 6'7".
There you
I
go.
wasn't even thinking about that, but it goes right back to it that yeah, we have definitely increased the height on this team. Another big player that came in playing didn't start but played about 22 minutes. Jalen Jenkins. He's a sophomore, also out of Macomb Community College, and let's see, he also started a lot of games for them. Started 26 of 34. So that Macomb Community College to Wayne State pipeline is definitely real. Uh, got a lot of players from them uh, in the past couple of seasons, looking like that pipeline is continuing on.
Yeah, and I mean it's good to see that. It's one of those like, elevate, move on to the next level, kind of like mature up a little, not mature up, but like get on a bigger stage, get to kind of play some bigger games there. And yeah, the Macomb Community College team went 30-6 last season. So pretty high quality team. Very good reason to be able to go and target that team and say, who are your guys that are ready to take that next step and get into the spotlight? In this case, those two seem to be two that we're going to be keeping our eye on there. So good stuff there. Also, fantastic pronunciation on Jotham Nowecki because I looked up his profile on the Wayne State Athletics site, exactly how they say you pronounce it. So
Yep.
Sangster nailed that one. So
So yeah, interesting stuff we'll be seeing. This game didn't count for anything. Exhibition game against Talladega. I believe Talladega is in the NAIA, so uh, we won't be seeing a, a standings game for Wayne State. I think for another week or two. So uh, good start to the season though. Always good to win one at home.
yeah, absolutely. We'll be talking about them probably next week, as you mentioned. So, quick one here. The Mike Neal doubles tournament happened for the Wayne State men's tennis team. This was back on Halloween. And a couple of our partners here, George Day and Thomas Mathis, go 3-1. Louis Klaus and Harry Forsyth go 2-1. Sam Knowles and Tom Wasner also go 2-1. So I don't think there was really a bracket in this one. It was kind of almost like a round robin, if you will. At least that's what it seemed like to me. So good stuff there. I think Wayne State was able to go 10-9, 9-8, something like that. I think was the final record for the entirety of all the doubles teams that we sent out there.
Yep.
And that wraps up a very, very brief fall season for Wayne State men's tennis. Wild that we won't be covering them until mid-January, but it's always fun to kind of talk about them early on. We kind of got a feel about what we're dealing with here, what the team looks like, who our pairings are. Really, who we're going to be looking at is our number one tennis player on court number one for a lot of these events. So that's always good to know. And then, yeah, when they come back around, we're going to be full on into it. They jump right into their season once this starts back up. So usually they'll do some like D1 overlaps and somewhere in January, but their season gets underway very quick once we get to the new year.
Yep. We'll have a bit of a winter break for them. Hopefully, some time that they can spend in the Duchesne multi-purpose indoor facility. Team of the fall, we've said it, volleyball. They were out uh, two big home games. First on Halloween, unfortunately, it was a bit of a scary one against number 15 Ferris State. Ferris ended up winning 3-0. That's not to say that Wayne State did not fight hard. Uh, Definitely not a blowout by any means. Set one and set three were decided by 2 points. Set two, yeah, that did not go Wayne State's way at all. Uh, Biggest issue for Wayne State in this game was service errors. Wayne State made 10, and Ferris State was darn near perfect. They only had two. And it really just makes you think about set one and set three, where just getting the ball in play off the serve, that might have made the difference, where 2 points. Wayne State might have won one of those sets, extending the match. You never know what happens in set 4 or 5, but it could have made a difference here. Unfortunately, it just doesn't go Wayne State's way.
Yeah, the tough one here is Kevin Breckmacher, the announcer, because I was watching this one, was talking a little bit about how Wayne State was being pretty aggressive on the serve. And one of the comments that he made was maybe that was a point that coach was trying to make. Coach Tim Koth was trying to make was like, be aggressive on the serve. Let's try to really get them out of position, and that's perfectly fine. I don't see any issue with that game plan. The only thing is like then the numbers didn't really work out in our favor. As you mentioned, Sinks are 10 service errors here, only one ace the entire match. So, if that was the game plan, the aggressiveness kind of hurt us a little bit, I think, because I believe in set number one, there were 5 service errors. That's a tough spot to be in when, again, it went to extra points. But if you clean up those serves a little bit, it's possible that Wayne State wins that one. And of course, it's way easier said than done. Like, oh, Ryan, of course, just hit the ball over the net. How hard could it be? But like realistically, like just kind of like now looking back at it, like that's just to prove that like that was a huge difference in this one. And again, like you mentioned, Sangster, set two might feel a little bit different. Maybe Wayne State doesn't feel so deflated and drops set number two, 25-16. Maybe we compete a little bit more. Who knows? Set three, you go into that one, you got that. You're on your home court, you're tied, and who knows what happens from there on out. So it's at this point, of course, it's always going to be what ifs, but that's the biggest thing is the aggressiveness on the serve. It seems like that was the case. And unfortunately, it didn't really work out in Wayne State's favor in this one, which is fine. And I will say it's fine because the way that the weekend played out, Fair State ended up losing the next day to Grand Valley. So realistically, we didn't lose. I guess we kind of lost a little bit of ground, but not really too much after this loss against Ferris State. So from that perspective, like it stinks a little bit. You'd like to beat Ferris, even out the season, but at the end of the day, as we'll talk about here in game number two, this Wayne State volleyball team was able to come back here. One player I wanted to throw out really quick before we get to that game, though, is Katarina Stout. She is a freshman. She is in this match against Ferris State. She had a 391 attack percentage, and again, that means almost 40% of the time when she attacks the ball, they're getting the point off that attack. Only one error, and she had 10 kills. So she really showed up in this one. Clearly, Ferris didn't really scout her. And again, she's a 6'1" freshman middle blocker. And if that doesn't really mean much to you, let me put it to you this way. Kayla Giroux is our current starting middle blocker. So, in a time where, Kayla Giroux may no longer be with the Wayne State volleyball team, seeing that we have a freshman at the exact same height and be able to perform at that level in spurts like that is very exciting. And it shows like, yeah, the revolving door of collegiate athletes is nothing new, but there's that next person who's ready to take on time and show like, I can make this happen.
Yeah, and it just speaks to, how this team has been able to recruit well and also being able to keep up, not having to have these ebbs and flows at certain positions where, you have a really, really good senior and then, well, it might take a bit for somebody to come back up. No, if you can have somebody that is going to be ready to go to take that baton away when Kayla's time is done at Wayne State, then that all the better, I think. And so Wayne State was able to turn it around. First day of November, Saturday, November 1st against Davenport. Really had to get this game to keep pace in the GLIAC again, because once you said that Ferris State had lost to Grand Valley, I don't think they knew this at the time, but at the very least, yeah, you might not have the tiebreaker, but if you can still keep up with Ferris State, you never know what's going to happen. Wayne State won this one in a big way, 3-1, avenging their loss to Davenport in Caledonia. There were 8 service errors in this match, so it's better than the last game. But probably something that needs to be looked at. Maybe they're trying something different. Maybe that's just how this weekend went. And of course, when you need a big win, who do you turn to? Well, yesterday you'd call, but not yesterday. 31st, you'd call the Ghostbusters. On the 1st, you turn to the Kaylas. They showed up in a big way. Kayla Giroux had 20 kills, no errors, and 2 aces. Kayla Dolger had 46 assists and no errors in this game.
Yeah, just wild stats from them. I mean, again, like you said, like this is the match that whatever happened on Halloween against Fair State, you're not changing that one anymore. But the thing that you can change is this is a team that, you know, beat us. I don't think they should have. I think Wayne State should. And again, if we play Davenport 5 more times, we probably maybe we beat them 4 times. But in this case, like you got them one time, go make it happen. Keep pace with GLIAC, at least at the number 2 seed. I mean, we'll talk about that a little bit more because I think that's a very important thing to keep in mind as we get into the last 2 weeks of this season, the regular season. That's something we want to keep our eye on there, at least as from the fan perspective. But really good comeback for this Wayne State volleyball team to be able to get the win against Davenport. And yeah, we've got some players on here, as you talked about, Sangster. One last point on volleyball is, last season, I remember Molly Miller was around. She was one of the best players on Wayne State, one of the most reliable. You just turn to her when you need something to have happen. And, if she wasn't available or you went somewhere else, it was to Kayla Giroux. And there hasn't really been a fall off. I mean, it's fantastic to see that there's the next player up, somebody else able to step in, take on the extra minutes and the extra sets. And it's great to see that this team can continue and seemingly will continue to be very competitive.
Absolutely, yeah. But all of the goals I think that this team had going in are still very much so in front of them. There's no reason that they can't achieve greatness this season.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, we're going to close out this first segment here with football. I wish I could say we're coming to all of you with good news, but if you're listening to this, you're probably very well aware of what ended up happening in this one. Grand Valley comes to town on senior day for Wayne State, and Wayne State drops this one by a final score of 13-59. This team did hang around a little bit in the first half. Wayne State was up 6-3 at one point, I think early in the second quarter, and then Grand Valley showed up and stole our lunch money. And as I mentioned, it was 6-3. Uh, what ended up happening? I think Wayne State ended up getting a touchdown at some point, and then Grand Valley just rattled off 56 straight points. Is that not? Oh no, we scored the 7 at the end. Thank you. Yes, we had 6. Grand Valley 56. Wayne State scores a touchdown late in the game.
Yeah, Wayne State did not score an offensive touchdown in this game, unfortunately, until the fourth quarter. Uh, you know, 2 field goals, kind of early in the first and late in the second, actually. But beyond that, it was all Grand Valley, scoring 56 unanswered points.
It's rough.
Just I can't. There is not a world where that is acceptable. Offensively, again, not much happened. Rushing game was it was actually a little bit better than it's been. Uh, Aside from an amazing 80-yard touchdown run by Mickey Keller, the offense had I think about 110 rushing yards, so a little bit of improvement there. Unfortunately, the passing game to basically anyone not named Justice Tuggle it was a struggle. Uh, on top of that, 2 interceptions, a fumble, and I also think that Justin Cox was hurt at the end of the game. Dylan Crest comes in. I'm sure he's a great kid, but asking a freshman to come in against one of the best teams in Division Two, yeah, they're having a down year, but still they're one of the best teams in Division Two.
Yeah.
To come in and play a football game, that's a lot. So
Yeah, that's a rough time to come in and just, at that point, the game's probably out of reach. I mean, you got to go really, really,
yeah,
that's
it was kind of late in the game.
yeah, so it's pretty rough there. I definitely don't like to see that. It leaves even more question marks around what we have coming up in the final 2 weeks of the season here, but just a really, really tough game. And it's a like I mentioned, like they were a little bit competitive. Like this team has been competitive at a little bit of time in a lot of these games, but like not for very long. Like we can hang around until the other team can open up the game. We kind of get a little uncomfortable. We kind of get out of place. We kind of play on our heels, or we make a mistake, or whatever. Like, and then it kind of all falls apart pretty quick. And that's kind of been the case for honestly the entire GLIAC season. Really, like a lot of the non-conference season too. But this conference season has just been absolutely disastrous, to put it not even lightly. Like it's been rough.
Yeah, defensively, like I said, that they unfortunately gave up 56 unanswered points, 59 points total. Uh, Wendell Smith did have an interception in this game, but other than that, not a whole lot of pressure from the Wayne State defense. So what do we know now? Well, we know that Grand Valley is Grand Valley, and they still showed us that they are Grand Valley. This unfortunately was not. I don't think there was really a season where Wayne State even came close to winning the game that they were a just pure underdog team. I think that 2019 game, Wayne State was a really good team that year, and they managed to figure it out that game. Not the case here. So the home season is over. Last two games are going to be on the road, both in Chicago and in Marquette, which we'll be talking about next segment. Um, what we do know, it's the first time that Wayne State has gone winless at home since 2004. That was a one-win season in Paul Winter's first year on the road at UIndy. Something else I did, I went back and I looked at the average home attendance for every season since 2000, past 25 years. This is the lowest average home attendance since 2000, averaging about 1,645 per game. 2000, it was 1,459. And that number might not have even been exact back in 2000. I remember reading stuff about that. Ticket sales were a little different back then and how they did that.
A little loose.
And I do have a full chart on how attendance has ebbed and flowed over the years. Uh, Needless to say that since 2023, there has been a pretty steep drop.
Yeah.
Pretty steep drop.
Yeah, and it's definitely not what you like to see. It's something that is going to have to turn around. I know we've given our opinions. We're going to give some more opinions here in the second half. Um, yeah, it's as I've kind of joked a little bit about, but not so much joked about. It's it's basketball season time. I'm
Yeah.
ready to go inside. I'm ready to watch some basketball. I'm ready for
And playoff.
football to be and playoff. Oh, of course, playoff volleyball. Yes. So, yeah, we'll be talking in the second half here about those sports, a little bit about those sports. A new sport, of course, enters the chat. But with that, for those of you that listen, I know that there's a lot of Wayne State football fans that listen to this, that follow a lot of our content. We appreciate all the support, bantering with everybody, kind of talking over, on the side through chat, whatever. That is fantastic. We're not going to get to see anybody at home football games anymore, of course, but if we see you on the road, which we will be up in the Upper Peninsula in 2 weeks from, I guess, about a little over a week from the time that you might be hearing this, we'll be up there. We will not be out at the Roosevelt game, always looking forward to see people as often as we can. But with that, that closes out the chapter of the fall Sangster that is kind of nice to see come to an end.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank God for volleyball. Thank
Yeah,
God for
yeah.
that. That's all I got in
Yeah,
there.
volleyball kind of kept us interested throughout this fall. So with that, we're going to take a quick break. We got a lot of sports to talk about here in the second half, so we will be right back.
Yeah. Here's a little bit of a YouTube special right now. Of course, I can't share my screen because I'm on two different computers at the moment, but
Let me just share my screen.
the the average home attendance across the years is very interesting. You kind of see big jump between 2006 and 2007 by about 600 folks. Kind of evens out, like honestly, between like 2008 and 2013. It kind of dips down, then comes back up. It's fairly even. Then there are some wild swings. So you've got 2013 is the like second most highest attended by average, followed by 2014, which dips down quite a bit. And I remember that, 2013 was kind of a rough season. I think 2014 they started to get on the rebound. And you see that how it kind of it's almost in at least some instances it's almost like a year delay by like if the team is great or not and how it impacts attendance. So then by like 2015, 16, 17, it rebounds, goes back down in 2018, which then kind of is in like live time with 2018 was a rough season. Then shoots way back up, probably from that Ferris game uh, in 2019, largest attended crowd at Tom Adams Field. Dips back down for 2021, COVID, then jumps back up in 22 post COVID, I guess, and then dips down pretty much below that starting in 2023 and then even further in 24 and 25. It's an interesting chart, and I'm not entirely sure what it means. Like I said, I have my own opinions, but especially like some of the outliers are just really baffling.
Yeah. Hmm.
It'd be
That must
interesting
have
to
been brought
try
to you
and
by
pull like
Sangster Insight.
it'd be interesting to pull like a not an average home attendance, but maybe like a median and see what happens there. Like if it's a little more steady.
Yeah. Well, very interesting
Yeah,
stuff there. Not
YouTube's
exciting. Oh man. Alrighty. Oh, oh. You seem ecstatic.
I pulled up the conference stats for football. It's not
Why
fun
did why'd you do that?
because
People need to know. Ugh.
you know when Johnny Cash covered Hurt.
Yeah.
I hurt myself today. Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, um, mm,
I'm good.
yep. I am also good.
Sick.
We can get to it. And we're back. So, new sport coming towards the end of this section here, thanks to this segment of the Warrior House podcast. We're going to start out with football. We mentioned this Wayne State football team is going to be away for the rest of the season. So, to start out, this team is currently sitting at a sad record of 0-9 overall and 0-5 in conference play. Just really, really, I put up a thing on Instagram because I mean, for those who saw, a lot of people saw that one, which was fantastic. Sangster did this very polite thing where on my birthday he reached out and said like, this is Ryan needs to be the season ticket holder of the game, and so I put a little post up there. And one of the things that I mentioned is, you know, not the result that we wanted, not the season that we wanted. This is still our university. These are still our teams. This is still our Wayne State football team. We still back this team. We show up as we always talk about, but definitely not the season that we wanted to see. So, with that, for the first time ever, this Wayne State team gets to head to Roosevelt to take on Roosevelt University in, I guess, technically Arlington Heights. They play a little ways away from their campus, which is a bit of a shock, but like also not a shock because they're like right in downtown Chicago, basically. So, yeah.
Yeah. Roosevelt is the merger of two different universities. I think it's Roosevelt and then Robert Morris College, not to be confused with Robert Morris University, which we hear about in basketball. The Robert Morris uh, college team used to play, and I think they used to be located in Arlington Heights. So that's kind of where that comes from. They do, like I said, they do play their basketball games in downtown Chicago, just I think just steps away from Union Station. So maybe one day we'll be able to make a basketball game down there. We'll see how that schedule plays out. But right now they will be playing Roosevelt in Arlington Heights, 2 o'clock Eastern time, 1 o'clock Central if you're going down there. Uh, Two longest road trips to end the season. Chicago's a little closer than Marquette, but really not by that much. Um, what do we think will happen? The game notes don't say it, but I think we'll probably be seeing a new QB starting. I thought I heard that Justin Cox was in a boot uh, at the end of the Grand Valley game. Maybe he's fine. Maybe it's just a precaution. Don't know what's going to happen. I think what we've learned at this point is that any of the QBs that we're going to be playing are going to have challenges. So some of the veteran guys maybe aren't developing as much as we'd like to. Some of the other guys are freshmen and just don't have the experience, or may have only had junior college playing experience, and maybe not the most of it with that. Uh, like I harped on it before, we're the kind of the best quarterback that played a series is memory hold at this point. Whatever happened that he's not on the team, maybe it's time to make that unhappen and figure something out to get him back on. I don't know who makes that call, if that call can be made. Uh, because honestly, the I did have in here that the running game, but really just the entire offense has been almost a non-factor all year. Will it improve this game? There is the possibility for it. Unfortunately, right now, Wayne State has the worst offense in the GLIAC, and it's really not good. They average about 11.6 points per game. The beauty in that is that Roosevelt has the worst defense in the GLIAC. They average about 58.8 points a game. They're followed up by Wayne State defense giving up 48 points, but there's kind of a gap there. Uh, Maybe we'll see a shootout this game, but I don't know what's going to happen at this point. I never thought I'd say it, but this is probably one of the more 50-50 games we're going to see out here. Uh,
Yeah.
and this defense, in a couple of games, they have shown that they can do well. That Finley game obviously comes to mind, giving up just a touchdown. The Saginaw Valley game, 28 points shouldn't be some insurmountable thing. So we know that this defense can play if they're put in good position, and I think if that offense can get going. Um, and just kind of a couple more things on this one. Listening to the locker room report, Coach Wheatley again, I'm going to quote this one, dot, dot, dot. It's been a long time to get this thing going, but it's been pretty dismal before then as well. I just see Ryan shaking his head there. Again, goes back to this is worse than we didn't return a lot of production that we heard last year. I'm surprised we haven't heard that one again. But
Yeah.
again, go read a book. If you don't want to go read a book because one doesn't really exist, you can go listen to episode 106 of the Warrior House podcast. And I gave a breakdown of what the past 20 or so years of Wayne State football looked like. I'm not going to go back into it right now. But to say that the years previous were dismal, that's half true. But I don't think that you get to say that when you are 5-20 something right now in Wayne State. In addition, going 3 and something in 2 seasons at Morgan State. So
Yeah.
I don't think you have room to talk there. So at the end of the day, what is Wayne State playing for here? Playing for pride, playing to get reps for the young guys coming in, playing to avoid going winless on the season. That's only happened 5 times in Wayne State's history. Long storied history. It's had its ebbs and flows for it to only happen 5 times since 1918 when they began playing. Happened in 1930, 1931, 43, 1962, and 1999. It has not happened in the 21st century. They've gotten close a couple times. And also consider that 1931 or 1930 and 30 Consider that in 1931 and 1930 wasn't even Wayne University. It was the colleges of the city of Detroit. It was a junior college playing against some at least established colleges and four-year universities. 1943, there was something called World War II going on that kind of took away some of your good players, even early on then. So you're kind of left then with in the modern era of college football. I call that post World War II, two seasons, 1962, 1999. Fun fact, in 1999, head coach of Grand Valley, Scott Wooster, was the team captain at Wayne State. So hey, maybe he's had a hand in handing Wayne State a donut season. Hoping that doesn't happen because we do not want to add that to the list. But that's your bit of Wayne State history for today.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and look into that locker room report because I mean, one of the things that continues to irk, and as I said, grind my gears is there's only so much that you can control. I mean, you can't like you got here as the head coach, you know, the person that you said that direct quote, like whatever happened before doesn't really matter. Like you come in and change that thing, like not returning production. There's a little bit that you can do with that, but like at the end of the day, it's like you gotta play the hand you're dealt. And I don't think anybody out here is really dealing a quote dismal hand. You know, it's really it just I don't know. I could go on this one forever, and I don't really want to do that because I mean, what good is it going to do? With I mean, the record speaks for itself at this point. It's just a really bad situation that you know kind of needs to figure it out a little bit. I mean, I'm sweating the Roosevelt game. You know, had you asked me early on in the season, much like last season, like, well, yeah, things aren't going our way, but you know, we got Roosevelt at the end of the season. We got well, they've won a game. Northern
Yeah.
Michigan's won a game. We have not won a game, so it's just not a good situation to be in. And again, like we're not the decision makers and what can happen going forward. But yeah, it's just yeah.
Yeah,
Listen to 106. Episode 106 talks a lot about all this.
106, and I could harp on about it, but I went and I pulled the worst seasons in recent memory that were uh, under Paul Winters, which would be 2021, 22, and then 2018. That's kind of far back as we need to go. This season is worse. The season's worse.
Yeah.
And I never thought I'd be defending the Paul Winters era. I have to fight it because it's just like moving on from Jim Caldwell. That, yeah, Matt Patricia was not the right answer. That doesn't mean that keeping Jim Caldwell wrong longer would have been the correct answer either. Uh,
Yep.
but for what it's worth, year three, Paul Winters gave Wayne State its first winning season in over a decade.
Yeah.
It's been a
Yep.
short time since then, and consider that now we have the modern era of college football that you can go to the transfer portal and you should be able to persuade some guys to come here, and it just hasn't happened. So Paul
Yeah.
Winters
Nope.
didn't have that, and he made it happen by year three. Ebbs and flows since then, but at at, at this point, I'd take 6-5,
Yeah.
7-4. Those are looking really good right now when you're staring at 0-9. So not what we
Yeah.
wanted back then, kind of what we want now.
Yeah. It's like when you're smack dab in the middle of winter and it's like 14 degrees and you're like, God, I wish we had 38-degree weather, but then in like October, like March or whatever, when you have 38, like, ooh, it's kind of cold.
Yeah,
It takes you getting out of
exactly.
that, and you're like, oh, that's not so bad. So that's what we got going on for Wayne State football, Sangster. We've been talking about all season, not the season that we wanted. There are still two more games to have that to be had. We're going to be talking about those. We're going to be at one of them. This one we will not be at, so we will be watching this one from afar. And that's what we got for football. So a really quick one here. Moving on over to cross country, we got the NCAA Midwest Regional happening out at Wisconsin Parkside. I had to remember the name of the college out there. To my knowledge, everyone in the Midwest region gets invited out to this one. Everybody in D2. So your GLIAC, your GMAC, maybe your GLVC. I don't remember how the conference alignment happens here in the Midwest region, but I assumed something like that. And from there, the top scoring teams, usually the top two or three from each region, get invited out to nationals. If we recall from last season, Reagan Justice got invited out as an individual. So there are also options for individuals to be invited out there. So when Ella Showerman, no doubt, gets the number one top score, fastest time here and gets invited out at the very least, then we can say like, go Ella Showerman. But that's kind of what we got going on there. Very excited for this team, hoping for some good stuff from them as they head out to Wisconsin. Familiar territory for them, I'm sure. And that's what we got there.
Yeah. Moving on to swim and dive, event that we really wish could have been scheduled for next week because that'd be cool to check out. Northern Michigan's Natorium. Alas, we can't do that. This Friday, November 7th, and I think going into Saturday as well, both the men's and women's swimming and dive team will be at Northern Michigan competing just against Northern Michigan. Uh, Rankings really aren't out right now, but generally Northern Michigan is a highly regarded team along with Wayne State. Uh, Swim and dive is a sport that both schools tend to really excel at. So right off the bat, was some really good competition in Marquette.
Yeah, the swim and dive schedule did call out both Northern Michigan teams, the men's and women's swim and dive teams, top. One of them number 8 and one of them number 10. I couldn't find out exactly where those rankings were. I looked for the CSCAA and I didn't find their most recent rankings. So we'll keep our eye out for that because I don't know where Wayne State falls in. We will definitely be following along there. But always a good time of the season when swim and dive rolls around. Moving along here, Sangster, Wayne State volleyball. Currently at 17-5 overall, 9-3 in the conference. As of today, the first regional rankings are out, and Wayne State is one of the top 10 teams. Those of you who are new into this one, I always kind of forget that this is how this works out, but it's always like they don't really say what the order is. It's just here's your top 10 teams, and they're in alphabetical order. Doesn't really matter. The true rankings will come out on Selection Sunday, which I believe would be probably about 2 weeks from now, roughly. So that's when we'll be able to see exactly where Wayne State falls. Knock on wood, if Wayne State falls in the top 8 and they're able to make it into the playoffs. That would be fantastic to see, but really cool stuff going on for Wayne State volleyball here. With that being said, they have a huge, huge weekend coming up for a number of reasons. I think the biggest one is, they're one game out of first place behind Ferris State right now for the top seed in GLIAC. But depending on, and I believe Ferris State would probably get the tiebreaker over Wayne State either through head to head or for overall or what have you. Doesn't really matter. But the important thing here is to make sure we can keep on the number 2 seed. And right now we're tied conference record wise with Grand Valley in this one. We do have a win over Grand Valley so far, so feeling good about that one. But the reason that it's important here is the way that this works out when it comes to conference tournament is much like basketball. The first round is hosted by the higher seed. Your 1, 2, 3, 4 they get to host on Wednesday. That first match, and then Saturday and Sunday is hosted by the highest remaining seed. So for those of you who don't follow along, things happen where the number 1 seed goes down every so often. Just look at Detroit City FC this last weekend as they took on Louisville City FC. So far this year, the only teams that Louisville City FC lost to were an MLS team, an international team, and Detroit City FC. So things like that happen. So of course, it just so happens to work out to where, DCFC doesn't become a host team because of that. But it does happen to where the number 1 seed, you want to be the next in line. And Wayne State's in perfect position to be able to do that. That's why that's important there. The other thing is Grand Valley plays the same opponents as Wayne State this week. So they get to take on, as we'll be talking about here in a minute, Lake Superior State and Saginaw Valley. We want to make sure we're keeping pace. No accidentals. No, showing up on, we don't want any of that. Make sure we show up, do what this team has been doing all season, show up when it matters the most and make it happen. So, and then one last thing here, Ferris does have the difficult trip coming up to the Upper Peninsula where Northern Michigan awaits for them. I believe Ferris is number 4 in GLIAC standings right now. So a lot of moving parts this coming weekend. But with that, Sangster,
Number 1.
we do have, what's that?
Number 1. Ferris is number 1.
Oh, yeah, no, Northern Michigan is what I meant. Yes. So with that, 2 events coming up this weekend for the Wayne State volleyball team, Sangster. What do we have?
Yeah, big business trip up I-75 for Wayne State. Friday, November 7th, they will be taking on Lake Superior State at Lake Superior State, presumably in their metal box of a gymnasium, which can get very loud, causes some issues. Lake Superior State right now, though, they are not having the season they want. They have one win overall. They're 1-18, and that one win came in conference play. They're 1-11 in conference play. So handle your business in Sault Ste. Marie, and the same deal goes on Saturday, on November 8th. They'll be playing Saginaw Valley in Saginaw Valley. Saginaw Valley comes in with a record of 8-16 overall, and unfortunately for them, not for Wayne State, their GLIAC record really isn't that great either, 2-10. So trip up I-75, business mentality. Wayne State is clearly a superior team to both of these, and you can't let these ones get away from you. Show that you are one of the best teams in the GLIAC and handle your business against some teams that might not make the GLIAC tournament.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, someone like Saginaw Valley State, I haven't even really looked that closely at the standings to even know if it's possible. They would probably have to win out. So they kind of know that that factors into this. Boy, they have a tough road ahead of them, but they got nothing to lose at this point. I mean, they just got to go out there and play everything that they can. Lake Superior State might mathematically be eliminated at this point. I don't know for sure, but yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, it's hard to stress just how important it is this weekend to handle your business. You don't want to lose ground off the lead. You certainly don't want to lose ground to Grand Valley for that battle for that number two seed. It's extremely important. Just to put this team and realistically, just like because of course we're fans of this, but like this team is just that good that they can go and do this. So, if they can make it happen, it's not two of these matches that you look back and go, "Oh, thank goodness," was really hope we weren't sweating that one out, but it's like, glad we got that one. Let's just get that out of the way. It's on the schedule. We got to make that happen. So that's what we got coming up for Wayne State volleyball here, Sangster. Season is very, very quickly winding down, and we're really going to be into the thick of it, especially into postseason play here before you know it. So with
Yeah,
that,
I just
yeah,
pulled up the standings. So right now we have six clinchers. Uh, Wayne State right now in number two, tied with Grand Valley State, like you said. The bottom five and six are both 7-5, Parkside and Davenport. So just two wins uh, separate these teams, and there's still a quite a bit of season left. It
yeah.
is uncanny that football's just wrapping up, but there is still a lot of volleyball to be played. So right now, yeah, Lake Superior State and Saginaw Valley are kind of at the bottom, along with Roosevelt. Saginaw Valley, like I said, 2-10. Roosevelt 1-11. Lake Superior State 1-11. Then there's a bit of a jump up to Michigan Tech and Purdue Northwest, who are 6-6. So I don't think that certainly Saginaw Valley hasn't been eliminated yet. They will definitely need some help, and hey, that help is them winning, and Wayne State's on the schedule. We got to make sure that doesn't happen.
I'll take it if they both want to beat Grand Valley. I can give them that. I can give them that
Yes.
match. I'll meet them in the middle.
Yeah.
So that's what we got coming up for Wayne State volleyball. Last sport, Sangster, a new one has entered the chat. This last weekend, we also had a chance to talk with Coach Carrie Lohr for a little bit, and this big opportunity that this Wayne State women's basketball team has coming up as they travel on down to Texas. So the Wayne State women's basketball team is heading to Denton, Texas. This is going to be hosted by Texas Women's University. And this is right on the northern edge of the Dallas Fort Worth area. So, a huge, huge area. I mean, some big schools happening down here. So let's start out here. On Friday, November 7th, the Wayne State women's basketball team will be taking on the host, Texas Women's University. Of course, I had to look up any sort of information because I had never heard of this university before. And when I looked up some information on them, I got a little bit scared because Texas Women's University went 33-2 last year, nearly made it to the Elite Eight with a loss to Lubbock Christian. So this is a very difficult. I mean, there's a reason that the Wayne State women's basketball team is making it to this one because we said we know the competition we have in GLIAC, much like with our tennis team, much like with our baseball team, we're going to go and face some of the best in the country early on and really get our team kind of in that feeling of what these big games feel like early on. Then you come back home, GLIAC play and all that. You feel like, hey, we've been here before. We can do this. You know, maybe we won, maybe we played it close, whatever. But we learned a little bit about ourselves against probably a top 25 team in the country. I don't think the rankings are out here either, but this is a really big one.
Yeah, and the beauty is when Wayne State gets to the round of 32 like they did last year, you get the opportunity to play in these type of invitationals. Uh, it's kind of the same deal with the next game on Saturday, November 8th against Alabama Huntsville. Probably a very similar team to Wayne State. They ended up going 25-7 last season. Uh, they did not make it to the round of 32. They were eliminated in the first round. It was a close game to Nova Southeastern, team that we've heard of, I think, for tennis quite a bit.
Oh yeah. Oh
So,
yeah. They're down there with Barry.
yep, teams definitely in the South that we don't really get to see that often. Uh, but a huge opportunity for Wayne State to compete in really early basketball, and these ones are going to count. These are not exhibitions. These are hopping right into it against some elite competition.
Yes, I mean, just some really quick because, of course, I know we're not able to quite do the biggest deep dive into this Wayne State women's basketball team, but we do have a transfer coming in from Central Michigan and Carrington Gordon. Other than that, this is a number of players coming back from this team. Mackenzie Miller, Taylor Thompson, Gabby Luchka, J.C. Tubergen. But we'll see if Ashley Bauer is able to get out on the court with this team. Lexi Boyke, McKenna Ferguson. So a lot of names that we talked a lot about last season. And yeah, seeing a transfer come in is always very good. Um, Somebody, especially from a D1 school, is very, very welcoming. And yeah, I'm definitely excited to see what this team does. This is a really, really cool event that they get to go and be a part of. And the stats are going to tell quite a bit, much like with the Wayne State men's basketball team, where, they're a little bit different, where they had a lot of turnover, not turnover in the sense of new players on the team, not actual turning the ball over. But then, Jordan Briggs, kind of shows up and he's this, and I was thinking like, oh, is this going to be kind of one of those big names we get to keep our eye on? Who's it going to be for this? And I think I did see that Taylor Thompson is one of those, preseason players of the year. I think I saw something
Yeah.
about that.
Yep, she was on the preseason second team, Ugliac.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the biggest question will be who is going to take over uh, Shea Tripp's
Yep.
spot in the forward position. Certainly, Taylor Thompson can make a run at that. This team also does have other forwards that do have playing experience. Mackenzie Miller's a senior. Lexi Boyke saw serious minutes last year. She's a redshirt sophomore this year. Still have Gabby Luchka. Carrington Gordon, you were talking about coming in from Central Michigan, is listed both as a guard and a forward, so it'll be interesting to see what she does as well.
Yeah, and then one last thing, two of the freshmen on here I just happened to see. It's pretty clear that this coaching staff is targeting a little bit of height and trying to find a center out there. Two freshmen in there, AJ Rickley and Noor Beydoun, both listed at 6'1" as freshmen. So I mean, fantastic to see that there. Who knows what their time will look like if they're able to get out there? But regardless, it's pretty clear what this coaching staff is trying to do, and
Yep, sure.
we'll see.
Yeah, and we'll certainly have some answers, I think, to our questions after these two games.
Yeah, most definitely. So, with that, Sangster, that is all we have coming up. Lots of cool stuff going on here. Definitely, I mean, that Wayne State volleyball team, handle your business type of trip. That cross country team heading out to Wisconsin for regionals and the NCAAs is fantastic. Hoping we get some good representation heading on out to nationals. And yeah, well, I mean, we'll see what happens with football. It's been an interesting season to put it in a certain way. So, with
Can't forget
that,
swim and dive with some serious competition up in
oh
Marquette.
yeah, yeah, cannot forget swimming and dive. So,
Nope.
good luck to all of our teams heading on out. It seems like definitely most of our teams, realistically, all of them are kind of going to be out of town. So, with
Yep.
that, we do appreciate everybody listening in on episode 110 of the Warrior House podcast.
And remember, it's always a great day to be a Wayne State Warrior.